The original Sonic.exe creepypasta was uploaded to the creepypasta website on August 9th, 2011. It was shamed for being awfully written, and the creator themselves turned out to be a horrible person. In 2021, JC the Hyena was exposed as an abusive boyfriend and had done sexual roleplays with minors. Following these reveals, he had given up ownership of Sonic.exe to SRL October 23, his ex-girlfriend, who in turn passed it to Shay/Astronomiconics, after her own controversy, which is basically doing the same stuff that JC did. And Shay has divided ownership of Sonic.exe to be with Joe Doughboy and Raven. I don't know much else. I may have gotten it wrong. The ownership of the character has bounced between multiple people a lot. We're not here for controversies or who the owner is and blah blah blah. We're here for there are many different variants of this bloody blue hedgehog that have come about. And of all the things that could revive a creepypasta as iconic and as dead as this one, it had to be Friday Night Funkin' to do so. Friday Night Funkin', a rhythm game, brought back Sonic.exe. I don't know if I should be happy or not. I don't know. Friday Night Funkin' has had its own controversy with mod creators and stuff like that, but yeah. Let's just get into it, I guess. X/Sonic.exe, the original. X, or just Sonic.exe, was created by JC the Hyena. He is an entity created from an extraterrestrial cataclysm, apparently. X is a being of pure evil whose obsession with Sonic the Hedgehog fuels a hypocritical mimicry of the blue blur, and uses his visage to commit horrid acts onto his friends and enemies alike. And to add insult to injury, X takes the souls of the players of his game, leaving them in a brutal near-death state while putting them into a world of infinite torment. What a swell guy. And there's also something on the wiki about 7 Guardians, and I got lost. Because it's like, apparently the dudes were created to keep the order in X's world and to capture more human souls for whatever reason. And also the trivia says that he has done horrid acts. X forces his slaves into oral sex on a leash upon entering his realm, as depicted in official art, which showed a close-up of X's crotch from a first-person perspective. JC, why? Why are you like this? Anyway, Mist Crimson. The developer Mist Crimson on Game Jolt made a game based on the original creepypasta, which got heaps of attention on YouTube at the time. There was also a sequel to the game, which is called Sally.exe. I haven't played Sally.exe. And after JC's controversy arose, Crimson decided that, hey, this guy that I made based off of your creepypasta, he's mine now. The stuff that you wrote isn't canon anymore, he's mine. The game itself has served as a basis for the creation of every EXE game to come after it, serving as the inspiration for their many successors. And there's a lot of EXE games around. X Prime / 2017 reboot. The 2011 original creepypasta got a reboot by JC. And there's cult stuff. And this one was more hated than the original. I have nothing more to say. other than the fact that he has abs. Moving on. X/2011 reboot. This guy is a remade version of the original creepypasta / Miss Crimson's version by Jodo Boy in 2023. An interdimensional entity whose origins hail from the void. X is a being whose fascination with humanity in the Sonic franchise created a destructive mix, forming a vessel for an entity whose goal is to spread as much pain and suffering as he can. Good lord. The game is similar to the original game by Crimson and is meant to be as accurate as possible to the original creepypasta, without the rapism. Thank goodness. And for some reason this guy has a black hole for a mouth, so that's fun, and he needs to really brush his teeth. Gross. Go to the dentist. Ugh. Lord X. This guy is a future incarnation of the 2011 reboot, and he decides to do things differently since he has already lived through the events of the 2011 reboot. I haven't beaten the game myself, the PC port, which is the game I'm talking about. And Luigi Kid is canon. The remake of Sonic PC port is another cycle, possibly, if the first game is to be taken out of the timeline. I don't know what's happening. The PC port remake was cancelled like 2 years ago. I don't know what's happening there. The PC port remake got flagged as a virus by my antivirus and got put into quarantine. It is a Trojan virus, but it doesn't do much except for make text files and delete them. So, I don't know. Also, Lord X brings back the 7 Guardians from JC's story. I'm still lost about that. I don't know, and I don't care. I'm sorry, everyone. Also, the trivia section of the wiki says that Lord X's in-game form is a decayed version of Sonic due to Lord X inhabiting his in-game sprite and causing rapid decompositions to it due to his antimatter physiology. Which explains why he has hands coming out of his mouth at a jump scare. He's literally wearing Sonic like a skin suit. Lovely. Sonic in quotation marks. The subterfuge guy. I had to say it, you know. I know from subterfuge and that one gif. He's based on the 27 reboot by JC. This character is so deluded that he actually thinks he is Sonic. And this guy is hyper fixated on the dark age of the Sonic series. Specifically, the games released between 2003 and 2008, which is why he looks like he came straight out of Sonic.06. And this dude doesn't wear his shoes, he's got his dogs out. He's repulsive to look at, but he's not as repulsive as Sark. Sark is an EXE created by Jay's Coys for the purpose of serving as a secondary antagonist in Sally.exe continued nightmare. Sark is a rapist and a necrophiliac and a pedophile, purely for shock value. It's disgusting. Please do better. Please stop making your horror villains into sexual predators. It's disgusting. Please stop. You don't need it. Xenophanes. Xenophanes is the main antagonist of the now cancelled Friday Night Funkin' mod versus Sonic.exe. He was originally created by Right Burst Ultra and is now owned by Commando Dev and Sasta. As for the Triple Trouble form of FNF Xenophanes, that design is owned by Eric Animations. Sonic.OMT, also under the alias Outbreak Malware Threat, by Mr. Pixel Productions, is the titular main antagonist of the Sonic.exe One More Time fan game series. He's played through the events of the original Sonic.exe story too many times to count, and he's decided to change things up for one last round, which is actually 3 whole games. But whatever, I'm not arguing with whatever the hell that thing is. Good lord. Also, apparently the original Sonic.exe story is canon as a fictional story that OMT takes inspiration from. OMT actually possesses a Sonic.exe variant that someone in that universe created based on the creepypasta. I don't know, it's a bit convoluted, but I'm not gonna argue with him because he's freaky. I don't like what he looks like. Now we've got Rewrite, my favorite silly lad. Sonic, or as they're more commonly known, Rewrite, is an EXE created by Springless Echo. Rewrite is essentially a computer program created by a corrupt priest in the 90s. And the priest is like, oh hey, I've got a program here that lets you communicate with Jesus. Just seeming everyone for profit, you know? Several users of the program committed suicide. And authorities launched an investigation. And then the priest is like, hey, I should probably test the software. And then he got a response and then he killed himself. That's lovely. Most copies of the software were confiscated. Some of them remained in circulation, and then one copy resurfaces, and for some reason it decided to be a Sonic game. Like, what? I love Rewrite. He's a goober, but the story, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Okay, now go do your own reading, people. Most of my research has come from the continued EXE fandom wiki. Check it out. There are so many more of these bloody blue hedgehogs to read about. There's so many. There's like hundreds of them. Literal hundreds of them. It's crazy. There's too many variants.